Spirituality is not a structure. I haven't posted in about a week or so. Reason being is because I took myself out of the structure. I realized that I was starting to treat this channel and this work that I do here similarly to how I was treating my business before and the work that I was doing before in finance, which is very much a structured environment with the goals and the deadlines and the project timelines and all of that. And this isn't it. And you can't really do it that way because you can't plan your spiritual path. You can't plan when you're going to get to certain milestones or when healing is going to happen or when you reach some states of consciousness. And because of that, I wasn't truly in the flow. So I took myself out of that. I traveled. I had some fun. I went to a salsa event and then I went back home to visit my family. And when I went back home, a couple of things happened. And I want to talk about that because I think it will be helpful to you as you are on a spiritual path, just like me. Regardless of where you are, I feel like we always try to think of spirituality as something that can be reached when we are in peace in nature, somewhere on the top of the mountain or like somewhere in the jungle. Or I hear so many people saying, oh, I wish I have the money so that I can leave what I'm doing and just go to Tibet and spend some time there with the monks or somewhere in the jungle doing ayahuasca for like weeks or months or whatever. But truthfully, it's the opposite of that. It's the opposite of what we are all thinking is the path to reach those higher states of consciousness and to reach the levels of consciousness that we want to reach and the healing that we want to get to. When I say we, I mean people like me and you who are on a spiritual path and who want to reach the happiness within, so to say. But we so badly want to leave this materialistic world and kind of go into the state of beingness that we think can only be reached by being in nature or being away from the materialistic world and the busyness and the noise and all of that in the cities where we live in. But that's not quite true, actually. The real ego death or multiple ego deaths and the spiritual growth that we are to experience comes from living in this materialistic world. It comes from facing different situations that are going to trigger you. And where are those best going to trigger you than with the people that love you the most, really, and that know you the best? And that is your family relationships, your siblings, your mom, your dad, your significant other, your grandparents, the people that you spend the most time with, which is in your work, in your day-to-day relations with people that you meet at the stores, like on a train or wherever you're going. It's not when you leave this world of people and you go somewhere to meditate on the mountain. It's not going to happen that way. On the contrary, that's where you're going to be in peace. When you're in peace, there's not much to work on. And initially, I do believe it's good when you're learning to meditate and when you're learning to be in peace, to take yourself out of those triggering situations and do all of that. But there is no better way to experience those huge leaps in transformation and growth of your spirit than by actually putting yourself in the triggering situations in the day-to-day world of the crazy world that we live in, no matter where you are. And even more so is when you are being triggered or triggering your family members or people who know you the most and actually who you have deep emotions for. That's not going to happen with someone who is at the store, grocery store, and just say something negative to you. That person is likely not going to trigger, especially if you have been meditating. But as it happened to me, I came to visit my family and a lot of stuff came up. And being on a spiritual path and meditating for years and meditating continually for a long time taught me to be aware of those triggers, become aware of those triggers, and not react. And instead of look into those triggers, both the things that are triggering me and how I trigger them. And that's a huge opportunity for growth for all of us. And also, I want to talk about something, and that's a spiritual ego, which happened to me as well. And before, I would just toss this, and if I see that, they're getting triggered and it's just like I can't get through to them, I would just toss it into, well, they're not awakened enough, and why am I even trying? And there is no way we can resolve this conflict, and there's no way we can talk about this. We're just on different paths, and I just move on and then I just leave. But that's not okay, actually. This is where your true healing comes into play, and where you can show how much you have actually healed by helping. And I know sometimes this is very hard, especially if those family members are the reason that you have been put into different, or that you've experienced traumas in your life. So it all depends. And it depends how open they are. But at the same time, there is work that your soul is here to do as well. And I believe that we're all here to experience growth as souls on a spiritual path in this lifetime and on this planet. And we have been we put ourselves into a human body to experience those emotions and to experience those, and all those emotions of anger and shame and guilt and love, everything, pain. So you cannot be thinking that you're spiritual by avoiding those emotions altogether and moving yourself out of the triggering situations. On the contrary, we are to actually experience them and work through them, and that's how we grow, and that's how our spirits grow. And the same is for your family. Those are your spirits in your soul family, and they're all here on earth to help you and your spirit grow, and you're also here to help them grow in their spirit. So by alienating yourself from them, you're doing yourself and them disservice, truly. So I realized by me being here with my family is that it's a huge opportunity for us to grow as a not only as a family in this lifetime, but also as spirits on multiple lifetimes on our path. This is just one of them. And the more you go into conflict, and actually as an aware human being, as an aware spiritual being, the more you're going to experience growth. Because if you're aware, you're going to look into and at conflict in a different way. And I hate to say this, but if you're with monks somewhere in a monastery or wherever you are, they're in peace. And you are going to be in peace for the most part. They're not going to be triggering you the way your deep relationships can trigger you. And that's where the biggest growth and biggest transformation can happen. So, with that said, I hope this is helpful to you. Leave me in the comment section what your story is, and we'll talk soon.